World War II was a global conflict that raged from 1939 to 1945. It was the deadliest conflict in human history, with an estimated 40 to 85 million fatalities. The war involved the vast majority of the world's nations, including all of the great powers, and resulted in an unprecedented scale of death and destruction. This essay will provide a brief overview of the major events of World War II, from its origins in the aftermath of World War I to its devastating conclusion. The seeds of World War II were sown in the ashes of the First World War. The Treaty of Versailles, which ended the previous conflict, imposed harsh penalties on Germany, including territorial losses, disarmament, and crippling reparations payments. These measures created resentment and instability in Germany, paving the way for the rise of Adolf Hitler and his Nazi Party. Hitler's ideology of racial superiority and territorial expansionism would ultimately plunge the world back into war. The conflict began in Europe on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. This act of aggression triggered a chain reaction, as Britain and France, bound by treaty obligations, declared war on Germany. The early years of the war were marked by a series of stunning German victories as Hitler's armies, employing the innovative blitzkrieg tactics of rapid mechanized warfare, conquered much of Europe. However, the tide began to turn in 1941 with the German invasion of the Soviet Union and the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, which brought the United States into the war. The conflict raged across multiple theaters, from the battlefields of Europe and North Africa to the islands of the Pacific, ultimately culminating in the defeat of the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan in 1945. With much of Europe under his control, Hitler turned his attention eastward, launching a massive invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941. The German offensive, codenamed Operation Barbarossa, was initially successful, but the Red Army's stubborn resistance and the vast distances of the Eastern Front gradually sapped the strength of the German forces. The Battle of Stalingrad, which raged from August 1942 to February 1943, marked a turning point in the war. The battle, a brutal and costly struggle for control of the strategically important city of Stalingrad, resulted in a decisive Soviet victory. The German Sixth Army, considered one of the finest in the Wehrmacht, was encircled and destroyed, marking a significant turning point in the war. On the Western Front, the Allies launched their long-awaited invasion of France on June 6, 1944, known as D-Day. The largest amphibious assault in history, D-Day involved over 150,000 Allied troops landing on the beaches of Normandy. After fierce fighting, the Allies established a foothold in France and began pushing eastward toward Germany. As the Allies advanced from the west and the Soviets pressed from the east, German forces were caught in a vice. Despite facing overwhelming odds and dwindling resources, the Germans fought tenaciously, but their defeat was inevitable.